Hi, it's Ashley from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and welcome back to my channel where I make a lot of cake and cookie decorating tutorials, as well as give a lot of baking business tips. And welcome to part 2 of my All About Buttercream series. All of the videos in this series are going to be set up the exact same way so that you can easily reference the points that you need in order to find which buttercream is going to be best suited for your project. Now first, let's get started with the use and the pros and cons of Faux Swiss Meringue Buttercream. Now I was first going to publish the traditional Swiss Meringue Buttercream first, but I was so excited about my findings with this particular buttercream that I decided to move it up closer to the beginning of the series. Honestly, I feel like this might be my new go-to buttercream, and there's a lot of pros to this. The first thing is that you don't have to heat this on the stove like a traditional Swiss meringue buttercream. You also don't have to go through the tedious process of having to separate your egg whites. You're going to be using pasteurized egg whites for this, and that often comes just in a carton ready to go. I've worked a lot with meringue-based buttercreams, and I do find that it's harder to make sure that there's no air bubbles in it. This particular recipe and formula is a lot more forgiving, so that's why I like it so much, because when it comes to crumb coating a cake or even covering a cake fully with buttercream, there's not as many air bubbles. And this isn't to say that you can't have a really super smooth Swiss meringue buttercream. I just find that it's really easy with this. And when you're covering a cake with buttercream fully, you can actually do this in one go with this particular type of buttercream. Because of its thickness and volume, it's very easy to work with. The one small con of this buttercream that I can think of is that you do have to make sure you sift your icing sugar. And I don't know why, but sifting icing sugar for me just is such a messy job, and it's one of those things that I want to be able to skip, and I normally skip that step, but your buttercream will not come out as smoothly. So it is important that you don't skip that particular step. But honestly, that's all I could think of as a con for this particular buttercream. And of course, we've got to talk about the taste. Does this actually add up to the same flavor profile as a traditional Swiss meringue buttercream? Well, I tasted both buttercreams side by side to make sure that I would have a really good idea of the comparison. I'm going to try and describe the difference as best as I can because the flavors are very nuanced and the differences are very minute, but they might be of importance to you. So I'm going to try my best. Both of them have an incredibly smooth, buttery texture, but are not overly buttery the way that I sometimes find French buttercream to be. Also, American buttercream can have a little bit of that over buttery taste as well, depending on the ratios that you use. So they both have a really nice, smooth flavor. They also both have a nice, light sweetness to them. They're not as overpowering as something like an American buttercream. However, the sugar comes through in different ways. Because in a traditional Swiss meringue buttercream, we're using granulated sugar, it comes out a little bit brighter, whereas because we're using confectioners, or sometimes referred to as icing or powdered sugar, in this faux Swiss meringue buttercream, it comes off a little bit of a deeper flavor, I would say, and it feels a little bit heavier. I know that that sounds a little bit strange. Maybe you just have to make both of them so that you can see the comparison for yourself. And my final note is that because Swiss meringue buttercream does require just a little bit more technique, if you don't do it properly, you can end up with granulated sugar crystals in your mouth sometimes. Whereas with this one, it's so smooth and you're not going to mess it up, especially if you do sift your confectioner sugar beforehand. Now let's get into the performance. Now, this is the part that just makes me want to use this buttercream over and over and over again. Yes, the lack of air bubbles, which I mentioned earlier, but its hold is so beautiful. If you guys have watched my channel before and you've seen my cake videos, I primarily use Italian meringue buttercream. It's always been my go-to, but I feel like I might have to switch my go-to because this has such good hold to it the way that Italian meringue buttercream does, but the smoothness and just how well I can take this off of the flour nail without damaging anything is impeccable. I find with Italian meringue buttercream, which is very similar to Swiss meringue buttercream in taste, I find myself adding more butter to get that hold when I want to make things like this. And I also find that I have to let them set in the freezer before I can actually stack it on my project. When I experimented with this little test here, I was able to stack this right away without anything kind of crumbling or falling down. So hopefully I've sold you enough on this buttercream where you just have to make it. And let's talk about the methods. So you want to make sure that you're starting off with pasteurized egg whites. They must be pasteurized because we are not going to be cooking these over the stove at all. You're going to measure it out and then you're going to make sure you leave it at room temperature. I am going to link down in the description box below which recipe that I am referencing. As a reminder, my series is more based on the exploration of these buttercreams rather than me coming up with my own recipe, because I do find that as you get better and better with working with these buttercreams, you're going to adjust to whatever you need to do in order to make this work for you. Like for example, I did reduce the sugar amount in here just a slight bit according to the recipe. I really should have used a French sieve for that. It would have gotten the job done a lot faster. Because we're going to be using the whisk attachment the whole time, it's really important to cut this butter up into small chunks. I always find that I massacre my whisk attachment to my KitchenAid mixer whenever I don't cut them up. So really important that you do that. I'm sure you would have anyway, but I can be lazy sometimes, so sometimes I don't. But make sure that you do that, and make sure that you also use room temperature butter so that you're not wrecking anything. Now, I only had half room temperature butter and butter that had been in the fridge. So I'm going to show you what I had to do in order to rectify the issue that I have later on due to that. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm whipping up the egg whites. Now the recipe actually said to whip up the egg whites and the icing sugar at the same time. I just like to whip up mine a little bit first. I just find that incorporating that air helps out a little bit, but I'm sure it would work fine if you skipped that step of pre-whipping it. Now this buttercream does take a long time to whip up, especially if you're just using a hand mixer. It's going to feel like it's taking a long time. So it's best to use if you have a stand mixer. If you have only a hand mixer, it's going to work. Just don't panic that it's not coming together as quickly as you think it should. Be sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl frequently just so that you make sure that all of that powdered sugar is getting incorporated evenly. I always find when I make American buttercream, it goes everywhere, the icing sugar. That's the nice thing about this, because it is so liquidy, those egg whites. It just incorporates everything first, and then eventually it gets to a point where it's a little bit more like a meringue. Flavoring your buttercream is really simple. It's pretty much like any other buttercream. You're going to use a liquid vanilla extract like I did. I tend to go for the pure stuff whenever I'm making buttercreams because I know it's not going to get baked out, and you really are going to taste that quality difference between imitation and pure vanilla extract. After it looks like it's pretty opaque in color, you're just going to go ahead and add in the butter. Now here is where the magic of this recipe is. I didn't actually whip the meringue to stiff peaks or anything like that. It was pretty soupy still, but it was opaque in color, and then I added in the butter and it just comes together. You just whip. Now let's get into the troubleshooting and storage of this buttercream. So remember I talked about earlier how I only used half room temperature butter and half butter that just came right out of the fridge because that's what I had available. You're gonna end up with kind of like a curdled looking mess like this, and this is literally the troubleshooting method for most, if not all, buttercreams that I've worked with. You put it over a double boiling system, you wait till you see that the edges are nice and soupy, and then you go ahead and you whip it. This is why I say yes, you should be using room temperature butter, but honestly this process of putting your bowl over a simmering pot of water is really fast and you don't have to wait around or do any other step. Now the original recipe says to take some of the mixture, heat it up in the microwave, and then reincorporate it. That will also work too. I just find that for me personally, putting it onto a pot of simmering water is very fast and it's very efficient, and especially on a gas stove, it happens very quickly. Now here are some final tips about buttercream in general when you're troubleshooting your buttercream issues. So as you can see there, one of the first tips I want to share with you is anytime you have a buttercream that's a little bit more yellow, you're going to use a little tiny drop of purple food coloring just to get that to a white consistency. Sometimes people say just keep whipping and it'll turn white, but there are some buttercreams out there that will never turn white no matter how much you whip them. So it is important that you just know that little tip. The next thing is, if there's not enough hold to your buttercream, there are two things that you might need to do. One, you might need to pop it in the fridge, take it out, and then there you go, your hold is back. That might be something due to the climate that you're working in. But the other thing is you might just need to add more butter. Sometimes a lack of butter creates that softer texture. And the other thing is, if you ever have that curdled buttercream, you need to add heat to it. And if it's still like that, more heat and whip it more and more. Whipping your buttercream is always going to be the way to go. I have a feeling you're going to see this buttercream being used a lot more in my videos, but let me know down in the comments below. Have I convinced you to try this one out? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. Bye!